This
Um,
conference will now be recorded.
so for people who've just joined us, welcome. I hope this is a useful session for you. And hopefully, the aim of this lecture or this session is that we go through what the logistics of online OET is, what we can do to enhance our online OET score. And the most and the foremost thing that I want to just go through in this session is that, guys, you need to decide quite soon whether you want to give the written OET versus the online OET, because they are quite different and you need different skill sets for each type of OET format. So you need to decide quite soon rather than shifting between one and the other, because what I found is that's affecting a lot of students' preparation, because they're just thinking about, oh, do I have to give this exam? Oh, should I give this exam? And while they're waiting for deciding, they're not really preparing for their OET exam and they're losing out on time. You should remember that the online OET is going to be launched in about 2 months' time. The written OET is already happening, so you are losing out on time if you are waiting for the online OET. That being said, um, this is an expensive exam, and rather than doing multiple attempts, if you've made up your mind that I'm going to be more comfortable with online OET, then just wait for it rather than wasting your money on written OET and failing it and then having to give about £300 again. So it just depends upon which one you prefer, which one you're more comfortable with. There is no hard and set rule that the online OET is better than the written OET. There are different skills required for both, and depending upon students, some people like one and some people like the other. So what I'll do is I'll just start out with our first guys, if you can hear me, please type in yes, because some people are having problems with the sound. So if you can hear me, please type in yes. All right. Okay, that's good. Um, right. So what we'll do is, first of all, I'll go through what the official website has told us. So for everyone who has given the exam, what the OET did was that they sent out a manual about how the online OET works, which was just sent out to students who actually gave the exam. But what I've done is, if you just scan what's available on your screen, you should be automatically able to download the manual which was sent out to people who gave the online OET. So they just talk about how the online OET works, what system requirements they have, and what the actual test procedure looks like. I'll go through the same in this session, but if you want to have further information, especially on the technical aspects, then you can just scan this barcode and you should be able to see whatever material was sent out. Okay. So this is a session. So the online OET can either happen at your home, or what you can do is you can go to a Prometric center and do the online OET on their computer. Okay. So it's and then there's the written exam. So there are three different things. One is that you give your online OET at home. The second is that you give your online OET at a Prometric center on a computer, where you're typing everything or seeing everything on the computer. And the third thing is that the conventional OET. So there are three different things that you can do. What they usually ask is that if you're doing it at home, then you need to be seated on a chair. The room needs to be very, very well lit. And what they do before the exam is that they ask you to provide a 360-degree view of the room. So you should be the only person in the room. It should be a quiet place. They should be able to see you very clearly and hear you very clearly. And if in any case somebody comes into the room or they think that there is someone else in the room, they immediately stop your test and then you might get barred from the exam. So be very, very careful about the room that you're in and make sure that you don't get any neighbors coming in into your room when you're giving your exam. The interface where it works at, which should be compatible with most computers, is the Windows 10 interface, and the browser that they use is Google Chrome. So make sure that you have the same on your computer, or whatever device you're going to use. What I would prefer, guys, is that you give your exam on a laptop, which has like a proper keyboard and a proper webcam, rather than fiddling around with MacBook, not with MacBooks, with iPads and mobiles, because then you won't be able to read things quite properly. You don't need to worry too much about the system, because what they do is that the app through which they conduct the online OET, it does an automatic system check. So it's just going to check whether your webcam and your mics are compatible and they're working well before the actual exam gets started. All of the settings and all of the details, along with the information about the app on which this exam is conducted, is sent to you 3 days before the exam. So you should be all set and hopefully quite prepared. And if you're having problems with your system requirements, you should be able to solve them in the 3 days that they provide. So students haven't had much problems with the system setup, except that some people got confused over, they tried to use Windows or Internet Explorer, which didn't really work for their exam. So that was the only thing which we found, which was a little bit problematic. These are the do's and don'ts that they tell you before the exam. Is obviously it says that the room should be clear, orderly, and well lit so that they're able to see you. You can't sit on a bed or a sofa to do your OET test. You need to be seated in upright position, and you need to be alone for the entire test. The computer should be on a table or a desk, so you should be seated quite behind the computer rather than lying down, and the computer should be on a stable place so that the you're able to see things quite properly, and that your reading doesn't become difficult because your computer is moving about. You can't keep it in your lap. You cannot even have pets in your room. So if you have got dogs or cats, make sure they're not in the room. And you cannot, so some people, they have like a laptop with 2 screens. You can't use that for your OET exam. So make sure that we do that. The table that you keep your laptop on, guys, please make sure there's no pen or paper on it. I mean, you can have a pen and a paper, but nothing else. You can have 1 glass of water, similar to what your OET exam is like in real life, but you can't have a lot of clutter on your desk. Just some things which are important to remember is that your work is saved instantly. If in the unlikely scenario that your laptop shuts down or you have connection problems and you lose your connection in between the session, wherever you're at, all of your answers will be saved and your time will also be saved. And the next time your connection gets established again, you'll be at the same time point and all of your answers should still be visible to you. There is one person who's live and is going to be available to chat with you in case you're having any issues with your exam. Obviously, you can't ask them questions about the answers, but what you can do is if you're having any problems with the sound or the connection or in reading things or while you're writing, you think that the word processor is quite slow, then there's one person available to chat with you. What we sometimes find is that sometimes students complain quite a lot that when they're giving the actual OET in the conventional way and the sound is a little bit problematic, they have issues getting in touch with the invigilators. So that should be solved with the fact that you have one dedicated person online just to help you out. The timings remain the same. So the time allotted for reading, listening, writing, speaking are all going to be the same. You won't be allotted any lesser or increased amount of time on the online OET. The order why it works is that the actual, like in your conventional OET, you start with listening, then you do your reading part A. Then after the reading part A, you have an option to take a break of about 10 minutes time. Guys, if you leave the room to take your break, or you go to the toilet, or you go to get some water, then they're going to check you again when you come back. So they're going to be taking a view of the room again, checking your pockets again, um, checking your ID again. So everything will happen again if you take that break. And that time should be in the 10 minutes that you are allotted. Then you have your reading part B and C, and then writing. All of this is done through the Prometric app. I'll just show you a picture of what the app looks like later on. And your speaking is done via a Zoom call. So I hope everyone is already familiar with that. So there are two different apps that you're going to need on your test day. Your Prometric app, which they'll send you a link to download 3 days before the exam, and you need to have Zoom downloaded as well. All right. So this is what the system checks looks like. So when you download the ProProctor app or the Prometric app, they're going to check everything. So they're going to be checking your screen resolution, your operating system, your microphone, your webcam, as well as your download and upload speeds. So you should be quite sorted with regards to your system requirements before the exam. So don't really worry too much about it. I hope everyone knows the Zoom app. Just some things which do bother students quite a lot. You might find it a little basic, but the exam situation is a stressful situation and you tend to forget things. This mute button, this is going to switch off your sound. You won't be able to hear, the examiner won't be able to hear anything if you turn this off. So then it will show like a cross here. And then instead of mute, you'll be able to see unmute. That basically means that the examiner isn't able to hear you. And if this camera is, it shows like that, then that means that your video is functioning. If there's a cross on top of it, that means that the video isn't functioning. These are very, very basic thing, guys, but these do get messed up on the exam. So make sure that you don't make this mistake in your actual test. Okay. Some things which are floating around on the WhatsApp groups is lots of myths around the OET exam or the online OET test. Is that the first thing that everybody seems to be spreading messages about is that it's definitely quite an easier exam compared to the normal OET. As I said before, there's a different skill set required. You need to be typing out all your answers. It's still going to be the same difficulty as the reading and listening is on your actual OET exam or on the conventional OET exam. So if you're bad at typing or if you're bad at using the computer, then it will not be an easier exam for you. Okay. Um, in the sense that you're sitting at home, you're in a comfortable environment, you're not really surrounded by 100 students who are giving the same exam. The nerves might be a little lesser, but they're still not 0%. You'll still be quite nervous before your OET exam. Lots of people think that they can probably cheat on their OET exam when they conduct it at home. They might have people who might help them, but as I already said, that they're going to be keeping an eye. There's going to be a live proctor keeping an eye on you. They're going to be looking at the room 360. They'll be looking at the doors where people can enter or exit. And in any case, they feel like there's someone else in the room who's probably prompting you, then they'll shut down your exams and you probably might get banned from the exam. So I won't really take that risk on the OET, especially because this is a career sensitive exam. The way that the app works is that you won't be able to access any Google or any other browsers while the app is on. And the way that it works is that the whole screen, so the way that when you're looking at your laptop, you can see things at the bottom. You can see the start key, and that's your laptop view or the user's view. So when they're conducting the test through the app, they can see your user's view. So if you click on anything through your mouse, or you try and open another document, or if you try and open another browser, the examiner is going to be able to see everything. So cheating is very, very difficult on the OET, online OET. And if you think that is going to be easier because you're going to get to cheat, then I would really advise you against that. Okay, you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get banned from the OET and probably destroy your career. So don't cheat. All right. Um, we talked about comfort before. It's a similar exam situation. There is someone watching you, so you're not going to be 100% comfortable during the online OET. So, three myths that I just wanted to dispel before we before we go on further. Ashwarya, what I would do is, if you go back to the barcode that I provided, they do give out some specific things about Apple laptops, but I'm not too sure if you should be able to use it if you have Google Chrome, which functions, because the interface is the same. All right. So this is actually from the Health Education England, which the way that they tried to justify OET, online OET, when the GMC approved online OET, is that the online OET takes into account the fact that every doctor or nurse who's going to come and work in the NHS will need to be digitally literate. So they need to know how to use the computer. They need to know how to perhaps when you're coming and working in the NHS, you need to know how to order tests on the computer. You need to type out clinic letters. So the way that it was justified was by the concept of digital literacy. But digital literacy, or being familiar with the computer, is something which is not granted. So you might be a very good doctor, a very good nurse, or a very good paramedic, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if you're working in a country which utilizes paper notes and doesn't really utilize computers, you might not be as comfortable with them as someone who's working in a Western country and using the computer every single day. So some things which we can use to just enhance our computer skills. There is a free course by Microsoft, the digital literacy course, which basically helps you learn how to navigate through the browser window, how to read on the computer if you're reading for a long period of time, how to optimize your listening. So if you feel that you're not really comfortable with your computer skills, I would really advise visiting this link. It's www.microsoft.com, and the link is for digital literacy, and they go through lots of things which might make your online OET quite easy, especially if you're not familiar with the computer. Typing is very, very important on your online OET. Some websites which are quite useful and they might be used on your online OET, especially when you're talking about typing skills. Typing skills are going to be very, very important, guys, when you're going to be doing listening as well as writing, because in listening, you're listening at the same time and you're typing. So you need to have good typing speed. If you take a long time to type, or you're not familiar with your keyboard, what will happen is that you'll start searching for letters. So you'll start searching for, oh, where's the T, where's the H, where's the L, and then your mind will switch off because it's now looking at and searching for a certain letter, and then that is going to affect you listening to the actual lecture, and that's going to bring down your marks. So typing skills are very, very important. If you're thinking about doing the online OET, what I would advise everyone to do is, there are actual sites where you can test your typing speeds. Okay, one very good site is www.typingtest.com. So you can go to that website and just assess what your typing speed is. If you have a bad typing speed, I would advise you against thinking about online OET. Okay, because you cannot pass the online OET unless you've got good typing skills. So first thing that everyone's going to do after this lecture is that we're going to go to these two websites and test our typing speeds. If they're bad, we're not going to be thinking about online OET. Some sites which can help you type faster or develop typing skills are typingclub.com and keyboard.com. So make sure that you try these sites and see where you're at with regards to your typing skills. I would always advise that have a proper keyboard available to you, because then your typing speed increases. If you're using an iPad or a tablet, and if you have those rubber keyboards attached to them, they often bring down your typing speed quite a lot, and they also increase the frequency of you making typing errors, because that's just the way the keys are placed. So if you've got a good keyboard with proper space in between the keys and a good key set, then that should be essential for your online OET, and that will make your life a little easier. Guys, remember, if you are using a British keyboard, that's not going to be compatible, because on your British keyboard, these settings are a little bit different, because this is at the rate on the online OET, while on your British keyboards, it's a quote sign, so you can't really use it. This is a pound sign, and this is, all of the rest are the same. It's just that these might be a little difficult for you. So make sure that when you're using your keyboard, you set it to a US format, because that's basically how the online OET is going to conduct it. And Prometric is also a US based organization. So just some things that you need to be aware of. Okay, now I'm just going to go through briefly the sessions and how they are conducted in terms of each and every subsection of your OET. The OET writing is going to be quite different, because you're going to be seeing your task on the screen. Highlighting does become difficult, but they do have some things which can make you highlight the text, especially if you're highlighting the text in terms of the relevant case notes. So there is a provision for highlighting case notes on it. But guys, if you are someone who uses a lot of stars, or they use circles to highlight their purpose or to highlight the important case notes, or you make notes in terms of 1, I'm going to include this in paragraph 1, 2, I'm going to include this in paragraph 2, then this might become very difficult for you, because on the online OET you can do minimal things, because it's all on the screen. You aren't allowed to write it down on a piece of paper. You aren't allowed to note down your case notes onto a piece of paper. You're going to be doing everything on the actual screen. The highlighting is going to be on the screen. But if you're someone who's quite keen with the type of case notes they make and the way that they highlight, then I would not really recommend the online OET for you. I don't think that the spell checker and grammar checker will work on the OET, because the app is different from the usual Microsoft Word. So if you highlight a lot, or you make a lot of case notes, or you write a lot of things on your case notes before writing your actual letter, then the online OET is not for you. Let's just try and throw the question out. Guys, when you're writing your actual case notes, how many of you highlight, or how many of you use multiple methods, for example, writing 1, 2, 3 on their actual OET case notes? I just want to just ask the audience whether they use a lot of highlighting when they're doing their case notes, and then we'll just figure out as to which type of OET is better for us. Okay, so people are saying that lots of people, they do highlight quite a lot on their actual OET. So if you're doing that, you need to either stop doing that when you're practicing, or you need to just go for the conventional OET. All right, moving on. The OET reading. Now, lots of students had problems with OET reading. The thing is that we aren't really used to reading very, very long text on the computer. On the computer, usually the way that we read is that we've got used to it is that we're using Facebook, or we're using Instagram. There's a lot of pictures on there which sort of break down the text into easily absorbable parts. But on your OET reading, you're going to have like a big paragraph which you're supposed to read. And the problem with that is usually the way that students have told us, the way that OET reading works is that you have one part of the screen which shows your text, and the other part of the screen is your answers. So some students, they do find it a little difficult. The text might become a little bit too small. If you guys have problems with your near vision, it might get a little difficult for you to read the small text. And it's also quite difficult to jump from one part of the screen to other and then jump back again, because you're not really allowed to underline where you're at. So OET reading is the most challenging in terms of if you try to compare the conventional OET to the real OET. So it needs a lot of practice, and just be prepared for eye fatigue. So eye fatigue basically means when you're on the screen for a long period of time, and when you're reading a very, very long text, the words start to get a little jumbled and you're not really able to differentiate between sentences. So that's why to counteract that, you need a screen which you're comfortable with. The brightness shouldn't be too much, because some people they do get headaches from reading long paragraphs on a computer. So if you want, what you can do is you can use some glasses which are good for screen reading. Some people do like that to prevent eye fatigue. Some people also need a little bit, they might need some near vision glasses. So make sure that you're comfortable with the small text which might appear on the screen. Okay, so some tips and tricks which you can use on your OET reading on the online OET. OET speaking is going to be on Zoom. So make sure that you're comfortable with that application. Guys, you can use AirPods. They're quite good because they have a mic in them, as well as they've got quite good headphones. But some headphones, they do not have a mic function. Okay, so especially if you're using over the ear headphones, even if they're from a very expensive company, they usually don't have a very good mic. So you might have to switch between the computer and the headphones to listen, and the computer sound to speak. Okay, so if you are buying something just for your OET speaking, then I would say that you can buy like conventional headphones but with a good mic function in them. Lots of students, they love OET speaking on the online OET because they're sitting in their home, they're very, very comfortable. And even though the person is on the screen, they're quite far away, so they're not as scared. But still, remember, you still have to take case notes. You still have to note down what you want to say to your actual interlocutor. And just because they're on the screen doesn't mean that you don't take this as seriously. The format still needs to be followed and the task points still need to be fulfilled. So make sure that you don't mess that up. Now, the thing that people, one reason why people have started preferring the online OET compared to the usual OET is the fact that the OET listening is quite better on the online OET, because you're going to have headphones, you're going to be in a quiet environment, there won't be 100 students around you. A lot of students, they often complain about the OET sound when they're giving the conventional OET, because some students, they get to sit right in front of the speaker when and some people, they might have problems with the earphones while the actual OET session is happening. Guys, if you have any problems during your OET listening on your online OET, please use your live interlocutor. Okay, there's someone there. If you can't hear anything, make them aware ASAP, rather than just waiting for the session to get over. Just let them know, my listening isn't working, I can't hear properly, and they'll pause your exam. Okay, so make sure that you use your live interlocutor quite well. If you struggle on your OET listening, then the online OET might be slightly better for you, because the situation is a little bit more comfortable. And make sure that you know, if you are using headphones, you know how you can turn your headphone sound on and off. Okay, sometimes the sound might become quite loud, which often impairs hearing. So make sure that you know where, if you've got like a function on your headphones to turn it on and off, or it's your computer sound, or you have something on your keyboard which turns the sound of the keyboard up or down. Make sure that you're familiar with how your headphones are functioning. So you need to know how to change the volume of your speakers quite fast. So very important. And I do prefer the online OET listening compared to the conventional OET listening, but it depends upon you. All right. So now let's just try and make a study plan today, because I don't want my students to get confused by online OET anymore. And I don't want anyone to waste their time anymore on whether they want to do online OET versus conventional OET. Go to the website www.prometric.com today to see the actual app where the online OET happens. Go to the typing website. Have a realistic expectation of what your typing speed is. If it's not good, then it's not worth changing it in the next 2 months. Stick to your normal OET. If you have bad handwriting and your typing speed is good, then online OET should be better for you and you'll get better marks on your online OET. Go through the test format, know what they're going to do on the actual test. The official OET website has told us that they should have practice tests available by August, and if your actual exam is taking place in September, you should be sorted. If you want to practice mock test, reading and listening should be quite similar. But if you want to practice speaking online and writing online, then you can enroll in our courses with Teachio Academy and keep practicing your typing. If today you decide, all right, I'm going to go through with online OET, then all the letters you write from now on should be on the computer. Okay, so make sure that we do that. From now on, we stick to one exam and then we stick to preparing for that exam. Don't dwindle in between conventional OET and online OET, because if you concentrate on both of them, you're probably going to fail on both rather than pass one. Okay, so decide one and practice with regards to that specific section. So that was it for today. Very, very small session on online OET, but quite important that we understand the differences now and we don't cram up space in our brain for online OET anymore. So I hope you guys have learned something new today and you have a little bit more clarity as to which type of OET you want to do. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll quickly wrap up today's session. Guys, make sure that you enroll for tomorrow's session, which is going to be by Manoj sir on OET writing grammar. So very, very useful session, which will be applicable to both online OET as well as the real OET. If you are interested in our writing check or our speaking check, then what you can do is that you can go to our website www.teachioacademy.com to enroll in the same. And if you are interested in joining our Telegram group, please text Dr. Prashant on the number provided. Ashwarya, they should open dates. They should open dates all over the country, all over the world by September. Guys, can we make sure that our mics are off? So, Hema, we're going to be doing some additional letters in our future sessions, especially transfer and discharge letters. But if you go to our YouTube channel, we've done a 10 minutes revision for transfer and discharge letters for practice, which you can use. Kares, highlighting. If you want to do highlighting in terms of reading, you won't be able to do that, as well as You won't be actually able to write down your answers on while you're doing your listening. But if you want to make notes during the speaking session, you can do them. But writing also, you won't be able to use a pen and a paper to write down case notes. You would actually have to highlight them on the screen. So that might be a little tricky and a skill set which you need to acquire before doing an online OET. Okay, so that was it for today, guys. I hope you've learned something new. And Maheen, if you want to know about listening part C, please go to our YouTube channel. It's by the name of Teachio Academy, and I've tried to cover all three parts of listening, A, B, and C, as well as strategies which you can use on your listening to enhance your score. So go to our YouTube channel. It's by the name of Teachio Academy, and that should make your life in terms of listening very, very easy. Guys, we're going to launch mock tests pretty soon on online OET as well as conventional OET. So please, if you are a part of our WhatsApp group, please stay tuned for the same, along with some live sessions which will be personalized to your mock test, which will be launched very, very soon. So make sure that you are on our Telegram groups to know when we're going to start them. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And I hope you guys keep safe, and I hope you guys do very, very well. But before I end, I hope you guys decide which exam you want to do soon. Good luck.